من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله وهو العلي العظيم سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله وهو العلي العظيم سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله وهو العلي العظيم صلى الله على محمد يا ربي صل عليه وسلم صلى الله على محمد يا ربي صل عليه وسلم صلى الله على محمد يا ربي صل عليه وسلم. Ya Allah, we glorify you as you ought to be glorified. And we praise you as you ought to be praised. And we thank you for bringing us together to remember you. Help us to be conscious of your loving and merciful presence. Bestow your mercy and forgiveness upon us. Pardon our mistakes, for you are the pardoner who loves to pardon. إنك عفو تحب العفو فاعف عنا يا Allah. Pardon us. Forgive our mistakes and shortcomings. And help us to transform these mistakes to blessings of knowledge. Help us learn from our mistakes. Help us to return to you pure and clean from our mistakes. Purify us. Purify our words. Purify our hearts. Purify our intellects. And purify our intentions. Purify our attitude. And purify our actions. And beautify us. Beautify our actions, our words. Beautify our qualities. And illuminate us. Illuminate us with your light. Increase us in your light. Increase us in knowledge of you. Illuminate our hearing, our seeing, our hearts, our intellects, our spirits. Oh Allah, we ask you to show us the truth as truth, and to give us the courage and the strength to follow it, and to show us falsehood as falsehood, and give us the courage and the strength to abandon it. Help us to be conscious of you all the time. And do not let us be heedless and forgetful. Protect us from our own egos and do not let our egos be in charge of us, even for a blinking of an eye. And don't let any room for shaitan within us and between us. Help us to unite, to understand one another, to help one another, to care for one another, to be merciful for one another, to forgive one another. Help us to remind one another of your presence. Allah, guide the tongues by which we speak, the hearts by which we feel, the intellects by which we comprehend. Allah, help us to carry the message of unity, the message of all the prophets, the message of love and mercy and compassion, the message of justice and peace and freedom for all. Help us to learn your boundaries, the boundaries you set for us to respect. Help us to understand the law, your law, by which you govern this universe. Help us to see everything as a sign from you, as a trace of you, as holy presentation from you. Bring us closer to one another in unity and in harmony, and protect us from harm. You know the need of everyone, so please fulfill our very needs. You know our needs more than we know, so please fulfill everyone's needs. Feed the hungry, shelter the homeless, heal the sick, and use us as tools, as servants who can feed the hungry, shelter the homeless, and heal the sick among us. Help us to be the messengers of mercy, the representations of your mercy. Bless us and honor us to be your servant, and use us in a way that pleases you, and help us to be content and pleased for what you chose for us. For you have knowledge and we are ignorant. You have power and we are the helpless. And we are in utter poverty and in need of you. Help us to be thankful for your blessing and grateful for your abundance and aware of the abundant bounty you give us. Help us to be aware and thankful and content and pleased by what you've given us. Ameen, ameen. And bless all the prophets. Send your peace and blessing upon the prophets and their families and their followers, and upon Prophet Muhammad and his family and his followers, and upon all the saints, all the awliya that carried their message and followed their footsteps. Help us to follow their footsteps and follow their guidance. And bless our guide Sidi Muhammad al-Jamal. Forgive him and bestow your mercy upon him. And help us to carry the message after him, the message of love and peace and mercy and justice and freedom. Ameen, ameen. Please Allah answer our prayer with the secret of Al-Fatiha. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الرحمن الرحيم. مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. سبحانك ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us many blessings and many countless gifts. But usually we are caught in our own desires, mostly worldly desires, that we focus on one thing only and we lose consciousness of the abundance that Allah gave us. And then we suffer. It's from our own mind. So what is this dilemma we're in? Is that we're not understanding ourselves. If we know ourselves, we know Allah. Because Allah is the one who gave us our innate nature. If we know our innate nature and understand it, then we would know Allah through that. Know yourself, and then you will know your Rabb. Rabb means the master nurturer, the one who nurtures you, sustains you, take care of you. And He gave you your fitra, your innate nature, but you lose it because we live like not a holistic life, we live fragmented. You see, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us our physical body, He gave us our feelings, He gave us our thinking ability, our intellect, our mind, the intellect, and He gave us our imagination. But many times we are either indulged in the physical or so sucked up by our emotions, or we want to everything intellectual and calculated, or we are living in a fancy world and we want to forget everything and find some people may turn to drugs, or alhamdulillah, hopefully we're not. So, but people want to just live in a fancy world because they don't know how to deal with the world. So let us try to focus in this weekend or workshop in every dimension of the human being, which is actually a whole, but we fragment it. So let us look at each and focus on one aspect and try to go deeper with it. So let us first focus on our bodies that Allah given us. He gave us our 5 senses. And our 5 senses is very tricky. They give you reality as it is, actually, you know. If I am here, you see me, so you know, it does not give you something not real. But they are also limited. And they are also giving us this fleeting pleasure. Pleasure if you eat something delicious, if you smell something very beautiful, if you see a beautiful scene, what else, the taste is you hear some bird or music, and you can have, but it passes, everything passes. So it gives you this fleeting pleasure. And because Allah's creation is marvelous, this is where your focus, your immediate focus on the physical, you tend to want more of it, and your focus is that fleeting pleasure. But if we expand our senses, if we expand our 5 senses even, then we will come to a deeper understanding. And instead of fleeting pleasure, we can reach wellness, which is more sustainable, not like physical wellness. I'm not talking about that, because eventually the body will go anyway, will shed away this body, and we will go to another realm. But what I'm talking about is that we need to expand also, because it's the physical body that makes me feel separate. I have these boundaries, you have this, the tree has that, the lion has this, and so it creates this separation. And we want to treat everything as separate from us, and we want to conquer whatever, because I want just to sustain my body and my fleeting pleasure. And so, but if we expand our sensation, we will realize that everything is interconnected. Like, think about it. You breathe. The tree takes the sun energy, right, and the heat, and goes through the photosynthesizing process. Then it releases oxygen. And you breathe the oxygen, and you give the tree carbon dioxide, because that's what also trees takes. If you think of it in a profound way and you're aware of it, it is like part of your lung. It is part of your respiratory system. It is part of your body. The air is part of your body. Without it, there will be no body. The body will die and perish, right? If you think of the water bodies, the rivers, it is part of your urinary system. You have to take water. We call it urinary system, but these are actually labels for us to understand the body. But it is part of you. The water is you. Without water, there is no that body that you call you, right? And if you think of what we call the energy, if the stars are not in their place now, if the solar system is not in its place, you won't be here, right? And Allah make an oath in the Quran by the locations of the stars. This has many dimensions and deep meaning, but one simple meaning is that it is what sustains you in the body here in this physical world. If the stars are not in their locations, the earth will not be on its location. If the earth does not take the certain right amount of energy from the sun, the earth has a magnetic field around it that filters the solar rays and takes only what can sustain it. Because if we are overwhelmed by the sun, the earth is crushed. So the magnetic field makes the earth filter the kind of frequency or energy it needs, and it can sustain the life on it. Because the earth is one entity, one being. So you're part of, like the sun is part of you. The energy that the earth takes and you take from the food you take from the earth. So the food is part of your stomach hanging in a tree, It is your extension. It's an extension of your body. So it's one with you. You are all one body. The universe is all one. And that can shift our thinking. If we start to be conscious of this, how magnificent it is, how beautiful, and then you treat everything as part of you. If it is part of you, will you abuse it? Will you want to conquer it? Would you pollute it? Would you be cruel to it? Would you bomb it? No, because you don't, unless you're crazy or so despaired, you will bomb yourself. This is part of your body, part of your being. But this kind of separation, that we think things are separate. This is a separate nation. This is a separate community. This is a separate individual. We think that way. And as long as we think that way, we're not mercy. We're not the mercy that Allah wanted us to be. But Allah, as He says in the Quran, He pardons most of what we do. He said, human beings spread corruption on earth and on sea. But Allah pardons what we do, most of it. If you just throw some chemicals, a bottle of chemicals, let us say, in a river, would it right away react to you? No, Allah is so patient. So He created the system that way. It absorbs your mistakes. To a certain level, then Allah wants to show you, you are not conscious, you're asleep. So He makes this nature come and show you, I've been so patient, but now you're losing yourself. Look, you're losing part of your lung. You're using part of your system to wake us up, to realize that we cannot be abusers. We have to have knowledge. We have to have mercy. Otherwise, we're just asleep and bumping at one another. And this awareness, we have to increase it. Remember when you are a child that you used to play this game? Let us do it. Did you do it before? For a minute, rub your hands together. Let us rub. The people on Zoom too, rub your hands together and you hear that wonderful sound. Okay, we used to play this when we were young. Put it there. Can you see? Do you feel the energy coming back and forth? We're rubbing against everything all the time. It is so subtle that we are not conscious of it. If you rub, we used to do that also to create magnets when we were young, with a ruler, plastic ruler, and we rub it here. We have little pieces of paper, and it carries the paper. We used to play like that when we were young. So this dynamic, we're all in motion, everything in motion. You look at the mountains, the Quran says, and think they are just they are solid, but they move like clouds. Because guess what? They are made of the same things that the clouds are made of. They are made of atoms. Everything is made of atoms. And everything in continuous motion, because if you study the atom, it has the electron, the proton, and around it there are the electron. Everything in continuous motion. But our eyes can't perceive it. So, if everything in continuous movement, the air vibrates all the time, everything is in motion. There is this dynamic of rubbing against one another. There is no vacuum in the universe. There is no vacuum, there is fullness. Even what they call black hole, first in the beginning they didn't know what is that complete space. They found it has, it actually swallows all this, the energies and all of these celestial bodies. So it has, matter and energy and so. So everything, there is no vacuum. Everything is rubbing against one another. And if it is in motion and rubbing against one another, there is this subtle energy that we felt now. But we can't feel it because we are so caught in whatever we're doing or whatever we're feeling. So we're not aware of the magnificent universe, the signs, the traces that Allah gave to us.